Hey everybody, I'm happy to see you guys. I'm here in my little office space, and today's video inspired by my conversation with going back and forth with one of my subscribers, and he told me an interesting thing that my videos are somewhat have a trend of me praising Ukraine and Russia and putting down things in US. And first of all, I was really resentful to what he said. Although we can have any opinions, you know, I'm not here to prove myself right. That's not the purpose of my channel. But then I realized that there is definitely some valid points to it, because although I had never said that Ukraine is better than United States, or that Russia is better than United States, I've said things that I love about Ukraine, or things that I loved about Russia or our culture, and I'm trying to open them up for the listeners, for you guys, so you know what things we love. So if you're looking for a relationship, you know a little bit more about the culture. But coming back to his point, I realized that I had not talked a lot about things I do not like about Ukraine and things that I love about US. So let's do it. I would like today to share about the downsides of living in Ukraine. Of course, I was born there. I was born in Kiev, and I was born before we were all calling each other, dividing each other into nations. Like, you know, maybe you notice that in my videos I call sometimes myself Russian, sometimes I call myself Ukrainian, because when I was growing up it didn't matter, we were all the same, and it kind of had a good part about that. I think growing up like that and then learning the differences between us and putting them against us is what kind of very hurtful and disappointing to me. But right now, let's let's talk about the downsides of living in Ukraine from my point of view. And some of you know that I've been in US for 8 years, since 2008. So I will go back to my memories, and also to, you know, my family is still there. So number one right now is of course our situation on the east, that we can't figure out things with Russia, that inflation hit 300% because of the war. And to me, the war like that is always, responsibility for it is always on a, you know, those people who lead our countries. Because you can always come to a solution, you can always find a compromise. It's when power comes and money, and to be very honest, I was very, it has been very painful knowing that people, that our sisters and brothers, you know, we are killing each other. And I don't want to go into the details of the war in this video, maybe I'll do another one. But basically right now our economy is threatened, people, a lot of lives, I mean, I'm talking about it, but I cannot believe a lot of people, you know, died and got injured. And as far as I know, it's still going on the east, and it's so senseless. It's kind of similar to the civil war that was here in US. It's absolute nonsense. So that is painful. It's destroying the relationship between Ukraine and Russia, and I really appreciate Russians and Ukrainians who are not taking that personally and still love each other. That's how I look at it. So yes, obviously, seems like the rest of Ukraine is doing all right, but things on the east are still going on. A lot of infrastructure is ruined. We're borrowing money. The salaries are going down because the dollar currency going up. So basically, if I, it's a in a way great time to visit Ukraine, like central Ukraine or west Ukraine, because your dollar, despite of what's going on in US, the dollar now goes long way in Ukraine, because in 2008 it was about 8 hryvnia for a dollar, and now I think it's about 24 hryvnia for a dollar. So you can imagine what terrible times it has been. I might be like a 1 point or 2 points wrong, but it's about 300%. So yeah, so that is a painful topic, very sensitive, and in many ways, I mean, in all the ways. Number two is kind of connected, but for me, the problem I have with my own country is that our law do not really work. For example, you can be right, but if you go to the court and someone pays money, you might not ever win. I'm not saying it is with everything. I'm not saying it is with everything, but it's a trend. We sort of fighting with corruption, but if compared to countries like Russia, Ukraine, like and United States, the corruption level on a regular daily basis is way less in US and way more in our countries. It's somewhat improving slowly, but still sometimes it's hard to get justice. Very often people with money win, even like regular thing, uh, just regular daily things. It's almost like you have to sometimes give bribes to get justice, even if the law is 100% on your side. And talking about women and things like abuse and rape, it's, I mean, yes, you're supposed to go to court, but people often pay money and don't get punished. And also, I was watching last year a program on Russian TV, on YouTube, and there was somebody, a husband beat his wife, and they were asking in the program, what did his wife do to provocate him, as if you can justify someone rudely, in a terrible way. I mean, I don't know how to say it, like severely beat someone up, especially if it's a man, beating a woman to blood, basically. And I was listening to that. It doesn't matter what she said to him. It doesn't matter what happened. There is no justification uh, for abusing somebody physically like that. I mean, it was a very serious. It actually was a public person. Maybe it was 2 years, but I was thinking about this whole situation, that we are so behind on human rights, like that, and I do not like it. It's very embarrassing and it's very sad. So I just want you to know that I'm not blind. I know our problems, and Ukraine wants to be a part of Europe, and with all my love to my own country, I think to be part of Europe we have to have our social protection to our elderly and our kids. And in Ukraine till now, with all that's going on, our most unprotected categories of society are elderly people and kids. So that is painful, that is not good. I'm very happy when people adopting kids and helping kids. It's actually one of my dreams, and not even dreams, but maybe my goals when I visit Ukraine next time, to learn more about how to help children in need. how to help those who can't help themselves. And I think it's it really irritates me when we so much want to be Europe, but first of all we need to solve our inner problems and help those who elderly and kids. I'm kind of getting emotional about this because I think our attention to compete with other countries is a little too early to be on a stage when our own people aren't taken care of. But again, it all comes down to as often, to our, government situation, and it's a whole different story. So yes, those are definite downsides to our current situation, and in general. Also, overall, I have to say I'm starting to appreciate American small talk and American smile. I have a video about it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think it teaches you over time to be more polite, and our people are struggling with that. It's always like this contrast. You will find people that would help you, would put their soul without even knowing you, but very often if you're on the street in a public place, you will run into rude people. It's like the common level of politeness can really use some improvement, and I think that it's changing now when we're learning more about the world. But when I was traveling there to Ukraine in 2010, I think, last time, 2011, something like that, it was hell. I was traveling by myself with my son, and it was very hard. It was hard to get around. When you're trying to cross the street, it's your problem how fast you can cross, because cars aren't gonna stop. When I was in the airport, I have to say, guys were nice. I had a lot of men helping me out, giving me a hand, American and Ukrainian, but the staff and people who were working, a lot of them were not professional, were not good enough to show politeness, show support. Like, for example, when I was living in Ukraine, this one lady was asking me, well, where is your husband's permission for taking your son out of the country? Meaning from US. But I was flying back from Ukraine to US. So even if I don't have that paper about allowing my husband allowing me flying with our son, how is that I cannot come back to United States? So basically she was not a professional, and she was giving me hard time, and I'm obviously standing there with the kid. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm exhausted because he was only, I don't know, 8 months or 10 months. Oh my God. I was thinking, I was really realizing that in United States, the customer service, we can learn a lot from that customer service business and things of that nature. So we have a big room for growth. I just want everybody to know that I'm not blind. And the reason why I'm telling you all of these good things about Ukraine and beautiful things about our culture, because when you are compete for a woman from Ukraine, or you're traveling, so you aren't like a disadvantage compared to other men. So I'm basically telling you secrets. But when it comes to serious topics, of course, I'm living for 8 years right now in the United States. Of course, I love this country. It's becoming my second home, slowly but surely, and I appreciate the opportunity I have here. Although I'm the kind of person that makes her own opportunity, I do things. I'm not working for anybody. In a way, things actually worked against me when I came here, but that's another story. at the same time there are things that are working, and I appreciate being here, and I'm actually becoming a patriot in my own way. You know, I have my own political views, I have my own vision, and it comes from the caring point too. I totally care what's going on in this country, and I just wanted to make it clear. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, but of course, coming here, you know, being definitely a grown up, of course I love my country where I'm from. Of course I love Russian culture. Of course I like classic books. Of course it's like in my bones. It will never change. And of course, I love talking about the positive things, and I think every culture has some wisdom. You know, there is no such a thing as a perfect place. If we could unite, you know, Russia, Ukraine, and America, and Italy, for example, or I don't know, any other countries together, that would look like maybe an ideal situation, but it does not exist. I believe that, you know, Americans can learn a lot from other cultures, and, you know, Ukrainians, Russians, and we can learn a lot from Americans. So if my videos looks like one-sided, you know, maybe it's my personality. I didn't think they were really one-sided. I was just talking about things are that I love about Ukraine, and I believe that those things are better there, at least they are for me. But I've never said that it's everything. And I had not talked about bad things in Ukraine. And my next video would be about great things in United States. Good things that I hear. You know, it's always difficult if you would like to try to feel what the person from the other country, an immigrant, feels. Travel to another country, whether you speak language or not, and try to live in a place that is not touristic place, and try to figure out everything. You know, how to, excuse me, how to you know, make money, how to go around, how to adjust. You will understand it's hard, and sometimes it's, I mean, it's almost unbearable at the times, but you find positive and you basically learn how to walk again. So guys, my camera is falling from where it's supposed to be. It's a good sign. I have to finish. I hope I gave you an idea. I don't want you to, guys, first of all, I appreciate you following me, and yes, I'm a little bit I have my own opinion. I don't like to water things down. I just think that America is a great country. So when I criticize it, I just don't understand how such a great country can go for low standards on some things. Because it's definitely a country with the most possibilities in the world. That is for sure. And I care about, I mean, yeah, I'm slowly becoming a citizen. So share your opinions and thoughts, and you don't have to always write pleasing comments. I'm fine with different insights on things. I'm fine with that. So take care, guys, and I will see you next time.